Welcome back to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. I am CarrieVee, your biggest fan, the person who will believe in you until you can believe in yourself, and then I'm going to keep believing you. Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee is all things confidence, clarity, leadership, communication. It is all things life. And with us today on a repeat performance, a repeat performance, is Dave Moravec. And he is bringing us today his new book, Echoes to Remember, which I'm going to let him tell you all about. Dave is an incredible person. He's an incredible communicator. He's an incredible leader. He's an incredible writer. And he's bringing all of this with us today. So, Dave, welcome back to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee.
Thanks for having me, Carrie. It's always exciting. I have had wonderful conversations with you. And actually, we turned the tables once where I got to interview you.
We did. That we won't do that again. No, I'm kidding. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You were in the hot seat, and we didn't actually make it very hot. We had a good conversation.
No, you were a very kind interviewer. It was a great one.
I hope your audience enjoyed that conversation. And a year ago, you had me on to talk about Echoes Across the Tracks.
Yes. So what has happened since that occurrence? And I will also, for those of you listening, I'm going to link that podcast underneath of this one. So if you want to hear part one of this, click that link and then come back to this one, because Dave's going to bring us the continuation.
The Echoes Across the Tracks. As a first-time author, that was my first book a year ago. It was April of 24. And it was a whirlwind trip from April till, I don't know, the end of September. I probably had 30 events where I presented the book signings, podcasts, all sorts of, tried different things. Mm-hmm. And when I took it to Chicago to a book fair at the Printers Row Lit Fest, there's 50,000 people, literally 50,000 people in Chicago. And we passed out bookmarkers with the QR code. And the book ended up going to number one in the genre of business travel. Which was wonderful, because you get a screenshot for 1 second that your book is number one, and then it becomes number 3 and number 5 and number 20. Yeah. But it was a really fun time. And what I found was I was taking things for a test drive, seeing what worked and where people were resonating. And what I found was that a lot of people 50 and over are identifying with the main character, who's an elderly business consultant. And they can identify with the humor that he has because it comes from their era. Yeah. And the character development of Charlie, the main character, resonated with people. And I knew I was going to write a second story, but I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to come out. Mm-hmm. And the more people talked about it and the more I talked about it, Charlie's dilemma actually became what I thought was going to be the subtitle of the book. In the first book, Charlie travels back, if you remember, Charlie travels back in time to 1914. And he has some experiences in the South, in Jackson, Mississippi, and Memphis, Tennessee. And he travels back in time. But when he gets back on the train, he's back in present time. Well, the end of the story, no spoiler alert for those that haven't read the first book. But if you do get to the end of the book, Charlie's starting to ask himself, who can I tell about my time travel experience? And if you can imagine today, if Carrie, you were on a trip someplace and you got off at Buc-ee's and you stepped into Buc-ee's in 1914, or maybe it was Stuckey's 1914 with a pecan roll. Yeah. And you said to people, I went to the Stuckey's and I was in 1962. And people would go, no, I don't think so. I think you're a little bit off your rocker.
Yeah.
And that's what Charlie's dilemma is he's a formidable character, has a business integrity about him, but now he is dealing with these second thoughts about, well, who can I tell and how can I use this information? And so that is the impetus for Charlie getting back on the train in Echoes to Remember. I've been talking about echoes, and when you think of going through a tunnel, and what do you do? What do you yell?
When I'm going through a tunnel?
Yeah.
Tell me what I yell. I don't think I yell.
Hello. 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 Or you yell echo, and it goes,
Oh,
echo,
yes.
echo, echo.
I hold my breath.
And what's transpired, Carrie, is that when we hear something for the first time from somebody, and oftentimes they're yelling at us. It could be a boss, it could be a spouse, it could be a kid, or even us as parents. If we yell at our kids and say, "Hey, take out the garbage,"
Yeah.
They're not hearing that. They're checking out. If somebody says to me, "Hey, you ought to do this," I'm going, yeah, I don't know what authority you have to say that, but what ultimately happens is you go away from that situation and a quieter voice is in your head. That echo responds and goes, well, yeah, maybe Carrie's right. I should do this, or maybe my boss is right. I should be more cordial with our customer base.
Yeah.
And so that echoes kind of resonated with the story development, and the echoes that Charlie remembers, he's wondering whether or not they actually did or didn't take place. And so he gets back on the train, heading back from Chicago back to New Orleans so that he can experience 1914 in Jackson and in Memphis a second time. And that's the premise behind the story. The subtitle of the book is Crossing the Tracks. So we incorporated the train portion of it, Crossing the Tracks of Incredible Customer Service.
Yes.
And what I've done is I've woven into it all sorts of customer service experiences and stories that will resonate in a parable type form.
Yes. I love that. So what are some of the key points in the book? And if you're watching on YouTube, this is the book. So you can go and grab it on Amazon, which I will also link below.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for promoting that. What ultimately happens is, and I have one in front of me. It's really hard to see on the screen, but it's the customer service gold card.
Yes.
And I was given a gold card from my first boss back in 1984. And the first line of it is, the customer is the most important person in any business. It's not your employees, it's not yourself, but it's the customer. And Charlie uses this customer gold card throughout the train trip to tell some customer service stories, and recognizes that he doesn't just have to show this to somebody, he needs to give it to people. And so he actually produces some cards, and so I have some cards made up to hand out to people. But it ties to 1914 in one particular respect. The original gold card that I was given was written in the masculine. So the customer was a he and a him, instead of a generic male or female. And so when I rewrote the card, the customer is the most important person in any business. We are dependent on them, not dependent on him, which the original card had. And back in 1914, through the Alexander Hamilton Institute books that I've been writing from and teaching from, everything's in the masculine. Because female business executives and female business owners were a very, very, very small percentage of the business marketplace at the time. And so I've incorporated those kinds of things into the story as well.
I love that. I know that even when we were in high school at the same time, but we were taught that in English class. If you were talking about something, it was always him, always. You always use the masculine. So I love that you changed that. That was very forward thinking of you.
There are some things where there are feminine acronyms or word, like the ship. It's a she. The ship is a she. Yeah. And we're going to sail her down the coastline.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem proper for a customer to be in today's marketplace.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So when Charlie gets back on the train coming back, he goes back to 1914 then.
Well, he assumes that he's going to. I'll
Okay.
leave that for the reader to figure out.
Okay.
But the most important part, Carrie, is that he gets back on the horse, or in this case, the train.
Okay.
The lesson implied at the decision making point of the story is that many of us we have an experience. We fall off the horse. In this case, our business failed, or we got fired from a job, or that our marriage failed, or whatever that relationship was that went south. And oftentimes people forget that they need to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And they need to learn from the experience that they had, but to keep going.
Yeah.
Many people stagnate, in that, and they compartmentalize that experience, and they never grow because of it. And Charlie, even at his mid 70s, says, "Well, you know what? That's not okay. I need to get back on the horse."
Yeah.
And he has that dilemma at the beginning of the book, and he wrestles with that aspect of it. And it's fun for me because he is the main character is about 10 years or so older than myself. And so I can picture myself in his shoes 10 years from now going, well, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know what people are going to say. Are they, am I senile? And so I wrote from that perspective, and it turns pretty fun.
So are you Charlie?
As I said in the first interview, yes, I am absolutely.
Yes,
My middle name's Charles. My written name is David C. Moravec, and I go by Dave because it's very casual, and I'm a casual guy. But when you look for me on Amazon or elsewhere, it's David C. And the C is for Charlie. My grandfather on both my mom and dad's side was Charles, so we were able to use that.
Yeah. I love that. I don't know that we talked about that last time. So if we did, I forgot. And I love that. So what are some of or at least one of the customer service golden rules that come out in the book?
Yeah. The fact that the customer is always right is not always true. The customer is always the customer, but the customer isn't always right. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, we've had situations in all of our business lives where we knew full well that we were right, but we didn't necessarily have to prove that to the client. We could do that after the fact. We could go behind the scenes and make sure that we were personally comfortable with that decision that the customer was not right, and yet do right by the customer. Mm-hmm. So as an example, a customer may say that they paid the bill, and you know full well from the register that they didn't pay the bill. You can stand and stomp your feet and say, you better pay your bill or else. Or you can take a step back and say, well, I guess that's your opinion, and we'll make sure that your invoice gets to you in the proper fashion the next time. And and sometimes taking the high road in business is really hard, from a client-facing perspective. And so the character development on the train with Mac, the conductor, and with young Aaron, Aaron is his protege. Mm-hmm. They're developing this along the way with the passengers on the Amtrak train. And the Amtrak really just provides a vehicle to get Charlie from Chicago to New Orleans, and allows for the story to develop over a period of time. Yeah. The train is really not a central part of the book, but it's the setting.
Right. So do you think that many customers in, let's just say in the US, still believe that old axiom that the customer is always right, and that they go into every dealing that they are the right ones no matter what?
I think they do. I think it's just common for us as people to think that we're right.
Yes.
On all counts, whether it's customer or not. But But yes, I think there's some demands, and I think that's changed to a certain degree since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
An easy example is we go into a restaurant today and we see empty tables.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be that we would demand to the serving staff, "Hey, I want to be seated, and I want to be seated now. I see an empty table over there. I demand that that's my space."
Mm-hmm.
And what we found is that we have realized that staffing isn't what staffing used to be.
Right.
They may not have the staff to be able to serve the entire restaurant. And so we take a little bit more relaxed approach when we see those situations, or I think a lot of people do, that they may not have pre-COVID.
Right. Right. That's a really good point. We do live in a very different world. Did that affect how you wrote this book?
I did. I believe that a couple things came out from COVID that certainly play into the fact. That's one of them. The second happens to be responsiveness. I talk about responsiveness today from a customer service and hospitality perspective, as much hospitality as anything else. But um, comes out in the story. This is not a again, spoiler alert. But the question comes up, if you, and I could ask you, if you had three contractors that you call to remodel your bathroom, and you left three voicemail messages, how many of them are going to get returned?
In my experience, at the most one.
Exactly. The answer in the book is maybe one
Mm-hmm.
of the three, or maybe one of five. And that's puts the customer in a really tough position.
It
First
does.
off, because you only have one option.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the option from a pricing or service or quality perspective may be good, bad, or indifferent. We just don't have anything else to compare to.
Right.
However, what I've talked about is that you can be the differentiator in your responsiveness if you, in fact, are that one person who does respond, and you do so in a particular way. And so I talk about it in the book about responsiveness. And if I'm we'll just play the scenario out with the bathroom remodel. And I say, "Hey, Carrie, thank you so much for leaving a voicemail message just 15 minutes ago. It's our company policy to return messages within a 30-minute period because we want you to know we care about your business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a person come out to measure the space and look at what your needs are, but I want to do so in a convenient way. When would you be available for me to have our team come out and do that?" It sets a tone
Yeah, it does.
right there. And now you're feeling confident that I'm going to actually show up. Well, responsiveness then means actually having my team show up
Yes.
at that time, because all of us have had appointments that said, "Oh yeah, they'll be up between 8 and noon," and come 3 o'clock, they're still not there, and they're sending you a text message that
Yeah.
says, "Well, we got behind. We're going to get to you next week."
Yeah.
And that doesn't set the tone. So when they do come out and they look you in the eye and they say, "Hey, I know you'd like this wall blue, but we really want to hone in on what shade of blue." So I brought my samples here, and we want to go through those with you and take the time for you to sign off on this. We want you to know that we've got 5-star reviews. Here's a list of people you can call and check on our references. That customer service level is heightened, and it doesn't matter whether the second or third person calls you. All of a sudden now your confidence level in that customer service in that first company is right there. And
Yeah.
and now I don't have to think about my competitor because I've put my best foot forward. If you
Yes.
do end up going someplace else because the price is not right or we can't make your delivery, I go, "Well, that's okay, because that's your choice. But I'm going to put my best foot forward." And those are the kinds of lessons that come out in the book.
Yeah. Those are really great lessons. Those are really great
Um,
lessons.
I think that they apply to business, and I think they benefit the business to consumer marketplace today.
Oh, absolutely. I know quite a few businesses I'd like to get this this whole series in the hands of. We have tried to get our deck redone. I can't tell you how many phone calls, and we've gotten not one back. Not one. Not one. We're offering you a huge job.
Yeah, but the question today is why? And the
Yeah.
reality is that many of those companies are short-staffed.
Yeah.
They don't have the number of estimators that they really need to have, or it's the business owner is so busy that he can only do or she can only do so much,
Yes.
and therefore somebody's going to fall by the wayside. And when it happens multiple times over and over, that confidence in the next call, maybe it's not your deck, but maybe it's the plumber. You have a plumbing problem, or you got a HVAC issue in the 95 degrees. All of a sudden, now your mindset is tainted. Oh, I got to make 10 phone calls in order to get somebody to return my call.
Yeah.
And so my hope is that this the word responsiveness connects with people, because we want to be taken care of in our own situations. So therefore, we have to start by providing that level of service ourselves.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, sometimes I just want to say, I don't care if it takes you 2 years to do it. Just get me on the books. You know what I mean? Just return my call. It has been a huge lesson to me in my own business, because I will tend to take way too long to answer someone. It's something that I really have worked on to make sure that I am extremely responsive. Even if I can't fulfill what I'm being asked for, at least saying, thank you for the call, I'm not able to accommodate, it's a huge lesson. It has been good to be on the other side.
Because and there's so many more tools available today. Chatbots within your website, virtual AI voice assistants. It's going to become even more rapidly advanced with the technology that comes with voice over IP, and the technology will be using your voice. It's kind of scary to if you could imagine your voice answering a call, but it not being you. That to me, as an old guy, as a 63-year-old guy, I go, I still want to be the voice on the end of the phone. I want to be the one that says this, that, or the other in response. But in the interim, if I'm really not available, having somebody else do that work potentially sets the tone for, once I do respond as a person, that client or prospective client or customer already has a higher level of customer service than they would get if the other on the other end of the phone says, "Hey, thanks for calling ABC Plumbing. We're not available right now. If you leave a message, we'll get back to you as soon as possible."
Yeah,
that's different than AI voice assistants today.
Yes, for sure. Great lessons, fabulous lessons. So, what can we expect moving forward? Is there going to be a third book?
There's actually a plan for 4 in the Echoes series.
I love this.
I have thrown down the gauntlet for myself, so to speak. The next one will be Echoes Across the Sea, which will be hospitality related and take place on a cruise ship. I won't ruin it for your audience, but the foresight of that is intertwined within Echoes to Remember.
Nice.
Echoes from Behind the Plate will be after that. That'll be sports related and kind of take a side trip. But the last 2 books, at least that I have identified, one is Echoes from Down the Road, and the last one is Echoes from Echoes from Horn Honkers and Jaywalkers.
Love it.
That's my favorite title so far. But what happens when people jaywalk in the city? If you're in New York City or in Chicago and people walk in the middle of the street, something happens. Some inertia happens, either a screech of the horn, a screech of tires, a bang. I think of Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
In The Midnight Cowboy. Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Hangs on the hood of the car.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic line, and so people watching in the city and lessons from that will ultimately be in that book.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I'm making room on my bookshelf for all the Dave Moravec books, right in a row, right in a row. I have it all planned out. And
Well, I don't know that you know this because I'm not sure that I shared it with you, but third book was released just a couple weeks ago
no,
called
I didn't.
Echoes of Success.
Okay.
And it's the first book in what could be a really lengthy series separate from Echoes Across the Tracks and Charlie's adventures. It's written from a 1914 sales book that's 100 years old and has 568 pages. And I've condensed it down into 100 pages and 19 lessons. Um,
Wow.
there are timeless lessons from those 1914 books that apply verbatim today. And one example might be customer service software.
Yeah.
Everybody has a CRM software system. Well,
Mhm.
back in 1914, we didn't have that technology. We had a 3x5 index card.
Yes, we did.
And a salesperson might have the name of the owner, might have their kids' names, their spouse's name on there, might have their credit worthiness. It
Yeah.
might have year to year sales written on the 3x5 card, but they carried them around with them
Yeah.
in their briefcase or in their satchel when they traveled on the train. Um, and but effectively for the same reason that we use our CRM systems today, to manage the relationship, to have the information at our fingertips. And while we have now available on our personal devices in a smaller font and far more great detail than a 3x5 card, the importance of it is just as meaningful today as it was in 1914.
Absolutely.
So that's that book series is called Echoes of Success, and the first one was on sales and sales leadership specifically, and it's available through the same Amazon link.
Okay. I will link that as well down here so that you can grab that. I'll be ordering mine as soon as we're done. And I'm very excited to get it. I love having you on. You know, you're one of my most repeat guests. It's always so awesome to have you on Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. You always bring something great and something new to us, and extremely thankful for having you here. So, if somebody wanted to contact you, Dave, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, easiest to reach me through my email, DD for Dusty Dave, because I get dusty playing baseball. Dusty Dave, last name Moravec 5 at gmail.com.
Okay.
And certainly you can reach me by phone, 309-838-1947.
Okay.
And of course, always through our website, salesmanagerforrent.com.
Awesome. And I will link all of those below as well so that you can get a hold of Dave. Dave, can you leave us with well, wait, your superpower? What is your superpower?
Well, my superpower is always making connections.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've realized, and I share it with as many people as I can, is that when you make an introduction, if I introduce you to my friend Bob, and you and Bob don't hit it off because you don't have any real reason to talk, you look back on that connection and say, well, Dave made an introduction to Bob and it just didn't work out. I tend to make 10 introductions at a time on behalf of people because I figure out of 10, if one or two or three of them are successful,
Yeah.
then Carrie is happy. Maybe she linked up with Bob, and maybe she linked up with Sue, and maybe she linked up with Joe down here. And now all of a sudden she's looking at my introductions. She's going, well, not the 7 that didn't work out. She's looking at the glass half full.
Yeah.
So when you're making introductions on people's behalf, think about making multiple introductions so that the likelihood of success increases. If all 10 of them are a hit, then oh my gosh, then I'm in your good graces forever.
Yeah. Great point. And yes, you are definitely a connector in all ways. So, what is something that you could get all of us writing about? Something that would get us digging deep into our souls and journaling?
Yeah. Recently, as recent as this winter, I've been looking at life events. We've lived a long life, and we look back on those events, but we don't often write about them. What that lesson was. Yeah, we can do that at this time, and I can write down my lessons that I learned this week. But oftentimes we don't go back in time to think about that time when we were in our 20s and we screwed it up. We don't think about that time in our 30s when we knocked it out of the park with that big, huge sale and the details associated with it. We may not think about this relationship that went south and why it went south, and how we wish that we could bring that relationship back.
Yeah.
And so writing about the past events or those specific times, all of a sudden now you can potentially put some links together from a timeline perspective. What triggered this or what triggered that, and how to build on that, and learn from those lessons. So I've been encouraging people to go back and look at events in their life and write about those.
Yeah, I love that. That is a great writing prompt. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so we're going to have you back soon to talk about Echoes of Success.
I'd be glad to do that. I have not even promoted it. Again, both books have published in just the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And with a full-time job at the Coleraine Chamber of Commerce here in Cincinnati and major events, I got to tell you, we put in the second largest mural, art mural longest mural in Ohio. The longest is up in Toledo at 1,200 feet. Ours is 802 feet, and we're having a dedication on Saturday.
Wow.
So that's taken about the last 8, 10, 12 weeks to pull off. So looking forward to getting out and talking about the books this summer.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. And we will definitely have you back to talk about this other book because, like I said, we're going to just keep a bookshelf free for all the Dave Moravec books.
That would be great, Carrie. That's nice of you.
Yeah. Well, I think it's nice of you to come back because you always bring such great insight and depth to the podcast. So I appreciate it. I love having you on the show and can't wait to have you back.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.